It's time for Living with Victory, a program of hope and encouragement brought to you by Friends of Compassion and listeners like you. Now, here are your hosts, Tony and Laureen Giorgio, with today's message of perseverance.
Jesus is with me when the storm clouds gather, when the winds of this world are blowing strong.
Welcome to Living with Victory, proving life isn't about waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain, giving you peace, power, and joy through perseverance and faith, above all, in Jesus Christ. Good morning. We're going to be a little bit different this morning. This is called Fuel for Life. And from the Tribune, I'm reading Pittsburgh Tribune, Prepaid Gas Cards, A Lift for Families by Adam Smeltz. For struggling families with sick kids, hospital bills can be just the start of financial headaches. Hospital parking fees, time off from work, and gasoline for trips to and from medical appointments compound the stress on working families, especially in a shaky economy with steep gas prices, social workers say. People, and this is a quote, "People just don't have money," said Janet Fogel, supervisor of the social work department of Children's Hospital at Pittsburgh in Lawrenceville. She estimated her department fields 25% to 50% more calls from families needing transportation than it did during the past several years, though she did not have exact figures. And this is why we are doing the Fuel for Life program today, to let you know exactly what's going on around this country. And without further delay, I'm going to introduce my wonderful co-host, Laureen. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here today. And even though this is a painful subject for me to talk about, because these children just touch my heart so much, it needs to be said. The Psalm 72:4, may he judge and defend the poor of the people, deliver the children of the needy, and crush the oppressor. And I can't think of anything more oppressing than knowing that your child has a catastrophic disease. That is so hard to understand, that there's life and death there every day and that you're fighting for their life. To know there's an obstacle in the way of getting them the treatment that could save their life because you can't afford the gas to go back and forth every day for their treatments. We found this out last year when I had breast cancer. I had to go about an hour away from my home for radiation treatments every day, 5 days a week for 7 weeks. It was challenging to afford that gas to go back and forth. But if I could not be there every single day to get that treatment, I may not be sitting here talking to you today.
Yeah.
And this is something that parents are facing every day with their child that is so sick. You know how horrible it must be for them to realize that there is treatment, because there's all this science out there to help us live longer, but gas cost is keeping me from getting there.
It's total insanity. And you know, when you have a hospital that has the expertise and it's a teaching hospital, people travel from all over, everywhere in the United States to get there. So it's not a local issue per se. It is nationwide. And here's another quote from the article from another social worker. And this is in Orlando at Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital. And she says families receiving the help are overwhelmed and just very appreciative of anything. And this is from Mary Norris, a family counseling manager at Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital in Orlando. We have other foundations that pay for mortgages, car payments, things like that. But gas is a very basic need, so this is a good thing. We've been getting reports back, and Laureen has, some of the families now, because of the HIPAA law and the privacy, we can't really go into that much detail, but we can give you an idea of of what's out there, who's getting this benefit, and how really seriously ill these children are.
There's one here that is a toddler that has neuroblastoma. That is a tumor, cancerous tumor around vital organs. And most times these children have to have bone marrow transplants. Another toddler is waiting for a liver transplant. There is an infant that has hypoplastic left heart syndrome. It's a rare heart defect present at birth. There is an evaluation for a transplant.
Right here, we found out right here in Pittsburgh, we talked to people in Asheville, same thing at the Children's Hospital. We talked to people in Orlando. Do you realize?
It doesn't matter where you are. This is around the country. People are having problems getting their children to treatment due to high cost of gas.
I remember a little girl, okay, sweet little thing, barely 2 years old. And this youngster had severe heart problems. She was waiting for the okay for funds to get treatment. I'm talking 20 years ago. And she couldn't get this. She was barely moving. It was 6 months and still no decision was being made because everybody was passing the buck to get this child a treatment. I've got to tell you, we had to step in 20 years ago because of the health care that was not being provided this little child. And you know something? Here's where your help comes in, that you could say, oh, wow, I did something. One person, that's all it takes, one child. I don't care if that's what we have enough money for, is one, as long as it's one. This little child, and I won't mention her name, called me about 6 months ago. She's 19 years old, and she's not in that condition anymore. She's just graduated high school. Do you know what that does for you? I'm not saying I did it, because the money came from the public to do what we had to do, and we helped her out in 1 week's time, not 6 months. This is what we're asking you to do. Save a child. Help us to continue this fuel for life. You can go on our website, livingwithvictory.org. Livingwithvictory.org, simple as that. Click the donate button. You can use a credit card. I don't care what you send. All monies, anything you send is precious. But without you, no, we cannot. You can mail it to us, Post Office Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina. We're here for you. I don't care where we are. We can reach out. Pittsburgh, Asheville, I don't care where there's a child in need in this situation, we'll bring it to them. All we need is your help. That's all we need.
I just want to say Matthew 18:5 says, whoever receives and accepts and welcomes one little child like this for my sake and in my name receives and accepts and welcomes me. Put yourself in your neighbor's shoes and understand what they are going through to try to keep that child alive. You know, what we do is we take the money and send it to the hospitals. We'll buy the cards and we send them to the hospital.
Right.
And they determine who is the neediest and who needs it. And sometimes just a $25 gas card helps a family get home when they don't even know how they're going to get home.
Exactly.
In fact, we had one social worker saying that some families were walking if they were in a mile or 2 miles. Now, I went for radiation treatments, and I cannot imagine a child after a chemotherapy treatment, how that child feels to walk home a mile or 2 miles just to be able to try to survive. We can't do this without you.
We're a grassroots, when I tell you grassroots organization, I'm not kidding. We've been around for 30 years, but it's been grassroots, mom and pop. That's it. No conglomerates here, nothing. That's it.
About it.
That's
right?
it. And the flowers grow when you water the roots. So if you're watering the roots with this gas card program, we can do wonders. Believe me. even if we do 10 people, 15, it doesn't matter.
Whatever it is, it matters
It
to
adds.
the one receiving it.
It really does.
It just matters to the one receiving it, because I don't think anyone, unless you're really in this situation, can fully understand what families go through. I remember going up to Shands. We used to go up to Shands
yes,
in
Gainesville,
Florida.
Yeah.
And at Christmas time, we would set up a little Christmas store for them to pick out packages, gifts for their children and that. But we came to see that the families that were up there, a lot of them didn't even eat. They had one meal a day. And there was one family that was there for like 4 months, and they didn't know how they were going to get home because they didn't have money for the gas to go home. But the problems are still the same.
It's always, yeah,
the problems are
unfortunately.
still the same. So all we're asking is to really consider and try to put yourself in their place and to help. It doesn't have to take a lot.
We're talking about working families. I know.
That's
you
right.
know, to begin with, let me tell you something. They said that, and again, I'm quoting in Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, they're saying the regional demand for transportation help in Western Pennsylvania mirrors a statewide trend. The Pennsylvania Medical Transportation Assistance Program, which helps Medicaid users get to their medical appointment, has watched usage climb 7.3% during the last 5 years. Ann Bale was a spokesman for Medicaid, said. She said Medicaid participants overall grew about 23% in the same period. Janet Folger said a number of established assistance services help patients get to and from appointments, yet the availability of these services varies substantially among counties. They all have their rules and regulations, and can be relatively slim in rural areas, from which the commute to Pittsburgh can turn pricey when gas tops $3 a gallon. And this is a quote. And you can look at this if you want to go online, the Pittsburgh Tribune, you go Tribune Live, you stick in the prepaid gas cards lift for families by Adam Smeltz, and you could read this entire article that came out June the 11th. And we're only asking to keep this going, folks. It's up to you.
If you're going to make a check, please make it to Compassion Children's Foundation, Incorporated. For myself, I know we are put on this earth, and I sometimes wonder why. Why should we fight so hard to stay here and keep breathing? What is our purpose? Jesus said it best, love one another as I have loved you. With that love, we add to each other's lives and to our communities. I think it is horrific that a child could die because they can't get to a treatment due to high cost of gas. I think and wonder what difference could that little boy or girl have made if they were allowed to live. I guess we have to each decide that question for ourselves.
It's up to you. This is why we're doing it in these years of ours that we're supposed to be retired. This is the reason. We don't want this continuing. So your help, God bless you, is going to be critical. Let's keep this going, folks. The more we can do for all of these children, the better off we are, no matter where we live. We thank you, and God bless you. Keep dancing in the rain, because Jesus is your umbrella.
You've been listening to Living with Victory with your hosts Tony and Laureen Giorgio, who for 30 years have advocated for seriously ill children through Compassion Children's Foundation. Many families who have children that receive daily treatments for their illnesses are extremely challenged to even begin to get their kids the life-saving treatments they need due to current gas prices. Compassion Children's Foundation is there to lend a hand. That is our mission, and you can become a partner in helping. Support for this radio ministry comes from Friends of Compassion and listeners like you. Your tax-deductible donations can be sent to Compassion Children's Foundation, P.O. Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. You can also donate through your PayPal account by logging on to livingwithvictory.org. Tony is available to speak to your group or church members. You can call him at 828-926-4600. Join us again next week at this time for another uplifting story of dancing in the rain. Thanks for listening.